In this podcast episode, Ben Shapiro delves into the legal trouble that MMA legend Conor McGregor has found himself in with the Irish authorities. McGregor has been tweeting about the Irish government's immigration policies, particularly in response to a stabbing attack allegedly carried out by an Algerian immigrant with mental illness. McGregor's tweets have drawn criticism from the Irish Deputy Prime Minister and have led to an investigation for online hate speech. Shapiro then discusses the broader issue of mass migration and its impact on European societies. The recent surge in immigration to Ireland has led to economic insecurity and social unrest, culminating in a large riot and a surge in hate speech laws. The host argues that the left's insistence on promoting multiculturalism and downplaying cultural differences is dangerous and unsustainable. The rise of populist right-wing parties across Europe, including the recent electoral success of the Party for Freedom in the Netherlands, is evidence of a growing backlash against mass migration and multiculturalism. The podcast continues with a discussion of the political landscape in Britain, where the Conservative government is facing internal divisions over immigration and multiculturalism. The recent firing of a prominent Conservative politician for her stance on immigration and crime is cited as evidence of the establishment's resistance to populist right-wing policies. Shapiro warns that the failure to address the cultural and social implications of mass migration will only lead to further political unrest and division. Shapiro also highlights the recent hostage exchange between Hamas and Israel, pointing out the atrocities committed by Hamas during the conflict. The media's coverage of the conflict, particularly the BBC's reporting, is criticized for its biased and misleading portrayal of the events. He argues that the media's refusal to acknowledge the true nature of Hamas and its actions is contributing to a dangerous narrative that equates the actions of both sides in the conflict. Shapiro presents video evidence of the released prisoners engaging in violent acts, such as attempting to stab police officers and carrying out car attacks. He also discusses the celebratory reception of the released prisoners by Hamas supporters, who are seen firing fireworks and cheering for the terrorists being reintegrated into their community. Shapiro highlights the immediate recommitment of the released prisoners to terrorist efforts, as evidenced by their donning of Hamas headgear and pledges to continue the fight. Shapiro criticizes the media for promoting a false moral equivalence between the prisoners released by Israel and Hamas, despite the clear evidence of the prisoners' criminal activities. He condemns the media's portrayal of the released prisoners as innocent victims, pointing out the dangerous implications of such misrepresentation. He also addresses the mistreatment of the hostages by Hamas, including the separation of families and the denial of access to the International Red Cross. Furthermore, the speaker discusses the broader implications of the conflict, including the role of the Palestinian Authority and its alignment with Hamas. Shapiro highlights the ongoing threat posed by terrorist groups in the region and the necessity for Israel to take action to ensure its security. He also criticizes the Biden administration for its perceived weakness in dealing with the conflict and its pressure on Israel to make concessions to Hamas. Shapiro then shifts the focus to the international stage, discussing China's military actions in the South China Sea and the need for a strong American presence to maintain stability in the region. He emphasizes the importance of American leadership in ensuring global security and economic stability. He also addresses the declining approval ratings of President Biden and the potential impact on the upcoming House elections. In addition, he discusses former President Trump's popularity in South Carolina and the potential for his success in the next election cycle. Shapiro highlights the public's perception of Trump as a generic Republican politician and the implications for his electoral prospects. He also touches on the recent stabbing of Derek Chauvin, the former police officer convicted in the killing of George Floyd, in prison.